Okay, so if you're watching this video, it's because you've chosen to do the option design a weather map. Now I'm going to go through the instructions here. Now in Class Kick 2, I do have a voice recording going through the directions, but this video will kind of give you a little more in-depth things. So first, what you're going to do is you're going to pick which severe weather event you want to do from this list, unless I've told you otherwise. I did have some students in class ask me some questions about some of these events and what to do. If you did not talk to me directly, you need to pick one of these options listed here. So Encanto, Frozen, Wizard of Oz, or Little Mermaid. So you're going to pick one of these options. Then you are going to draw a map of that area. So let's say I picked Frozen. I can draw a little map of Arendelle. And I'm going to include things like buildings, the castle, trees, mountains. You're going to have a key, a little map key, with telling me what's what. So is a square a building? Is a triangle a mountain? Okay, make sure you're telling me what those things are. That's your first priority. And also I want to mention it doesn't have to be really, really detailed. So make it so we know where the big things are. So like with The Little Mermaid, I'm going to want to know where Atlantis is or Eric's castle. But you don't have to put every single tree on there, or you don't have to put every single rock or every single mountain, okay? It's just a general map of that area. So that's what you're going to start with. After you have completed your map, and I would suggest don't color it in, just draw it in black and white with a pencil or a pen, probably a pencil so you can erase if you need to. After you do that, you are going to add your weather symbols. Now with your weather symbols, you can use colors because when we draw things like a cold front, we want it to be in blue, right? If we do a warm front, we want it to be in red. So you're going to be adding your weather symbols. You must have the following in your weather map. Now this is all dependent on what severe weather you picked to begin with. You are mostly going to be dealing with cold and warm fronts, and I have some pictures in the next slide of this class kick showing you what those could look like. But you're going to include at least one front in your map. You're going to show me where the low and high pressure areas are. If you remember what we talked about in class, the low pressures are where you have a big L on your map. The high pressure areas are where you have a big H. You're going to have at least 5 isobars, and if you remember this from class, those isobars on the map kind of look like a topographic map, but when we're talking about isobars, we're talking about those lines connecting equal areas of equal air pressure. So you're going to want to include at least 5 isobars, and I'm going to say again, I'm going to have some examples kind of clarifying what these are in just a second. You're going to color code the area where the storm is located. So when I talk about this, think about when you watch the news or watch the weather, if your parents are watching it, you always see the radar and how there's like a lot of colors on the map. And that's telling you which areas are going to have a lot of rain, which areas are going to have less rain. Make sure you add any symbols you are adding to your map to your key. So if I have a warm front, make sure you put that in your key. And I have a picture to show you on that too. The very last thing I want you to do after you've done all those things, I want you to list 3 safety tips. The characters involved with that setting or storm, what they would do in that case. So for Frozen, and we're talking about a blizzard, right? They're going to want to stay indoors. They're going to want to make sure they have supplies, things like that. Safety tips. So this is really important. If you have any questions, make sure you email me. If you're confused on what to do, if you can't find something, If you can't find the project, make sure you email me. Don't put it off. Don't wait till the last minute, okay? Ask me right away. And don't just put, um, a question on your class kick page or in the actual assignment because I won't see it right away. Please email me if you have questions. So going on here to the examples. So I put these on a US map, but remember you're going to be drawing a map of that actual place. So within Encanto, you're going to be drawing the village, right? And Maribel's home. You're not going to be drawing a map of the US. So like I said, these gray lines here are the isobars, right? They're connecting areas of equal air pressure. The H's are signifying my high pressure areas. The L is signifying a low pressure area. And if you remember, around our low pressure areas is where we're going to have a lot of rain, a lot of snow. It's going to be cloudy. Our high pressure areas are going to be clear skies. There's not going to be storms, right? So in this sense, when we're talking about a thunderstorm, it's going to be around that low pressure area. We have our isobars, we have the big L. Right here, okay, the blue line with the triangles, that's signifying a cold front. And I've included it in my key up here. The last thing is I have just a color-coded area of rain. So green is meaning that these areas are experiencing light rain, and then in the interior of the storm here we have areas where there's heavier rainfall. Next, I have a blizzard. So with our blizzard, we have that cold front. We have that low pressure area, which is similar to a thunderstorm, right? But we have an added thing here. We have Arctic air coming down, right? Giving that chill, that blast of cold air that really turns it into a blizzard. So instead of it being rain up here, it's snow. Next, on the next page here, I have some examples. One being here, a tornado. And we did talk about this one in class. So we have cold air coming down from Canada. We have warm air coming up from the equator and a low pressure area. And that creates that kind of those perfect conditions for a tornado. So same thing, the gray lines are meaning those isobars. The red line here with the half circles is going to be a warm front. Our cold front is here with the blue line with the triangles, and then we've color coded our area with rain here where the storm is, where it's going to be rainy. And then lastly, we have a hurricane. So in this sense, it's forming over the ocean, right? It's warm, that all that water from the ocean is evaporating into the air. It's creating a lot of those clouds and it's creating this storm system. It's picking up a lot of moisture. So we have a warm front coming in. We have that low pressure system. Remember, that's the low pressure system is where a lot of those storms are forming, and it's coming up onto land. We can see it's kind of that spiral shape. But then we have a cold front here coming in, and that's creating that condensation so those clouds can form. So I have your examples here. Remember, you're not going to be drawing it on a US map. You are going to be drawing it on a specific area based on what you've chosen. So let's go back here. So if I chose Encanto, I'm going to be drawing that village from Encanto. If I chose Frozen, I'd probably be drawing Arendelle. If I picked Tornado, I'd be drawing a little map maybe of Wizard of Oz or even maybe a little section of Kansas. And then Little Mermaid, I'd be drawing areas like Atlantis, Eric's Castle, maybe a beach. So you're not going to be doing it on a US map. I was just putting your examples on there so you could go off of them. If you have any questions, remember, please email me.